at this stage it seems a good place to start to fill all the components up for the front of the case. We can work on the back parts later, the batteries and everything else that needs to go into it. These are the various buttons that will go onto this side. There's a D-pad which was spray painted in metallic black a while ago, and that's all ready for use. The reason this is here is that we're going to open up this PlayStation 1 controller in order to use the surround and the joystick, and of course our old favourite, the screen, which we already cut down to size earlier. So first step, let's do the screen. First thing we need to do is to remove the screen. There's a plug over here that you need to detach that provides power to the screen itself, and also this port. This port is easy enough to lift off. Use your thumbnail. You hear the slight click, that's with the brown tab raised. And again, you can use your nails, or alternatively use a pair of pliers, and just very gently, while holding the screen and the board together, put the pliers into the plug, not on the wires, and don't pull on the wires, and you'll be able to take the plug out. That then releases the screen. The next step is to use a flat and quite thin screwdriver. There are little tabs on the side where you can insert the screwdriver, and extremely gently press against the screen so that you can then take the outer shielding away from the actual box. When you've done that, it will lift off, but hold it upside down because there's a couple of components to the screen. You'll see why we're doing this in just a moment. Just work your way around until you've got the unit off. This of course is the screen, there's the backlight on here, etc. Keep that protected and out of the way for the moment. The reason we've done this is twofold. For one thing, you can see here that there's actually a ridge on the side and also on this side. What that means is if you're trying to get the system flat inside the portable, it won't be completely flat because of those ridges. If you try to remove that with a screen attached, you're going to damage the screen, either via heat or by direct damage. So we're going to use a Dremel and sand this down with a sanding drum. The other reason we've taken this out is so that we can position the screen absolutely centrally inside the case itself without guesswork. So first of all, let's sand it down with the Dremel. And there we have it. As you see, it's nice and smooth now on the sides. What we need to do then is to turn it over and make sure that each of the four sides lay completely flat on your desk. If they don't do that, then of course you can't lay it completely flat on your portable either. Where you've been sanding on this particular area and it gets very hot, you can see with the browning, it's liable that you may have pressed, as I did, slightly too much and it's become slightly raised. That's why you need to make sure it lays flat on your desk, and if it doesn't, give it a press in the suitable places and keep testing until it is. There are two metal tabs, one on each side, which I need to remove. Reason being is that the buttons lay directly underneath them and it will be quite hard to mount them inside the case with those present. So consequently I'm going to cut this one down and show you how it's done using a diamond edged rotary cutter. Very good cutting tools. Anyway, make sure everything's secured and you know where your fingers are. Let's get going. Incidentally, make sure of course the orientation of this goes in the right way around, otherwise your screen will be backwards. The long edge without the little tabs on the side goes at the bottom. So you now see why I cut out the two sides. The advantage of doing this way is that you can see exactly where the screen needs to be mounted to be central. The reason that there's a gap on the side here is that the very edges of the screen itself are not visible. Therefore the hole that's cut in here represents the exact size of the visible part of the screen as it shows through. What I'm going to do here is to apply some hot glue onto the corners, hold it down, make sure that these metal parts stay nice and flat, and then add a little extra hot glue on the side to secure it in place. Incidentally, it's a very good idea when you're working with a part of the case that you can see to put it onto something soft like a piece of paper, because of course while you're doing work, as we just did with cutting the metal part off, you're going to get little bits of metal dust, and that can easily attach itself to the case, and as you're moving it about it effectively rubs and abrases the surface, so the look of the case will be less good. So therefore put it on a nice clean piece of paper. You can see any dust and marks on there and remove them accordingly. The screen has been hot glued in place, avoiding any of the areas where we have the tab holes, and now we put the screen in place. A good way to do this is to hold the screen like this and then put the portable literally into it. Otherwise the LCD itself could detach and it would just be slightly harder to put it into place. So get it approximately right, and then pop it inside the tabs which we have here. Press them gently into place, working round and evenly as you go until all the parts click in place. Nearly done. These are done. That is done. And lastly, turn the system around. That's the stage we're at so far. Next job of course will be to install the buttons, which will be in the next video, because I'm going to show how to do the assemblies as well.